All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We'll just wait like maybe one more minute. A couple more people hop on. First Climate Kitchen. It's very exciting. Well, hopefully we'll have a few more people sort of gradually join us. And I am going to share my screen and get started with our presentation. Is the presentation full screen for you all?
Looks good.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Let me just do one little thing. Okay. So hello and welcome to Climate Kitchen as we continue to honor and celebrate Earth Day. I don't know who said it first, but it's more true than ever that every day is Earth Day. I think we all feel that, and I think that's a truism. I'm Kate Varley Alonso. I'm a lifelong Episcopalian and a parishioner at St. Martin's in Winnetka. I'm on the Bishop's Commission on Climate Change for the LA Diocese, which was formed in 2022 and has about 20 members. Our commission is chaired by the Reverend Canon Melissa McCarthy on behalf of Bishop John Taylor. Not able to be with us tonight, but definitely here in spirit and the driving force of the commission. I also want to acknowledge Canon Bob Williams and Sam Wiley, who are here tonight. Sam, who's going to be instrumental and who's assisting in assisting with the Zoom tonight. So huge thanks to her. And of course, all Canon Melissa, Canon Bob, and Sam deserve endless thanks for their tireless efforts in running the commission. To see them in action is incredibly inspiring, especially in the wake of the fires. Please check out the website on the commission. We will drop the Bishop's Commission link into the chat, and so that you can read a little bit about how the commission came about and a little bit more information on that. So I'll stop sharing now and turn it over to Mari Mendenhall, who will bless this kitchen.
Thank you, Kate. Let's take a deep breath. Creator God, thank you for the blessings of this earth, a tiny dot in your vast universe, yet we are here, a part of this gift, but not the only gift. Help us to see the unique ingredient each brings, for it is in this that we are interwoven in the likeness of Christ. Give us strength as we sprinkle salt along this path of life, walking softly with a heart and hand full of loving compassion. We are one together. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mari. That was just beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay, moving on now to what is Climate Kitchen? Climate Kitchen is, oh, but first I should say, Mari is on the education committee with me alongside the Reverend Paula Walker, Peyton Hoyig, and Rose Hayden Smith. And we are your hosts. The education committee is your host tonight. And we put this together. So what's cooking in Climate Kitchen? First up, what is Climate Kitchen? It's a warm and welcoming space for conversation, and we called it Climate Kitchen because isn't it always the case that the most popular gathering place in any home or church always seems to be the kitchen?
Mhm.
It's also going to be the place to swap recipes on how best to live out our call to care for creation, because there is a ton going on in our diocese, and we want to connect everyone together in a space of community. We're also hoping it's where you'll find a little food for the soul, from Mari's beautiful kitchen blessing to some of the things coming up tonight. This is our kickoff, and we want this to be built for you. We know we want it to be a place where you'll find a little food for the soul, because we know the serious reality of what we're facing with climate change. And we're certainly not going to gloss over it or sugarcoat it. But instead of doom and gloom, we're going to try to have some fun. Climate Kitchen is going to be a space where we are anxious and ready, and ready, willing, and able to see what we can cook up in the Climate Kitchen together. On tonight's agenda, we'll see what's on the spice rack. We'll check out the chef's special. We'll do a recipe swap, and that's where you all come in. In other words, we'll have a short breakout for you to meet each other and exchange, some recipes on what's going on at your congregations. And last but not least, we'll learn the 5 R's of kitchen hospitality. So now let me stop sharing and turn it over to Peyton, who will show us what is on the spice rack tonight.
Thank you, Kate. And hello to all of our friends who are joining. As any good cook, or if you're like me, as any good eater knows, a meal is only complete with balanced and thoughtful and flavorful seasoning. And so we've got to have that in mind as we start to pull together a meal. So our Spice Rack segment really focuses on climate and faith, how our care for creation and our response to climate crisis is grounded in, informed by, and really is an outpouring of our faith. So as a little seasoning for our time together, I'd like to share a dash of what our Episcopal House of Bishops has said about climate and faith. So at the 80th General Convention, which was in 2022, the House released a statement that read in part, "We depend on God's creation to sustain our life together. And by serving as good stewards of creation, we reflect God's tender love for all that has been made. In caring for our earth, we return our love to God. But climate change and environmental degradation are manifestations of our turning away from God. The effects of this willful separation from God resonate across our collective lives, and all areas of justice are either worsened or made better, depending on the health of our planet. As members of the Episcopal Church, we are committed in baptism to resist evil, to seek God's will, to treat all people with dignity, and to strive for justice and peace. And it's in living into those promises that we must face the climate crisis for the sake of love of God and love of neighbor." So in the chat, we would love for you to share some of your thoughts on how climate and faith intersect. Add some of your own seasoning to the dish and share with us how you feel our spiritual call and convictions connect with our care for Earth.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Peyton. As Peyton said, please go ahead and drop any comments that you have in the chat. We would love to hear about what is going on in your neck of the woods.
It takes a long time to type.
Well, Peyton, you talk about climate and faith so beautifully, and and that they're truly climate and faith and love all combine, all get into that mixing bowl, if you will, and then that helps us with action. Do you think sometimes so taking action on climate feels antithetical to our spiritual lives? Do you ever feel that, and do you have a thought on that at all?
Yeah, I hear that a lot, that creation care is not necessarily one of our core central calls as Christians. And I chafe at that a little bit just because of, what our bishops have said, but more than that, what scripture itself says, what the book of nature tells us. And what we hear in all of those forums is that we are part of this world, that God breathed us into being and placed us in this beautiful setting to not just be stewards of, but to be in deep relationship with everything around us. Catherine shared in the chat, we are called to be good stewards of creation, and that's exactly right. And
Yeah.
that stewardship looks like really faithfully caring for this world and demonstrating God's love through our actions in a way that really honors God as a creator. And a creator wouldn't degrade their own work.
Really well said.
We've got some more comments in the chat. Lovely things people are sharing. Rose says that St. Paul's Ventura has a very active sing group. It enables people to demonstrate how their faith is actionable in climate stewardship. Also proven a great tool for outreach. All ages are included. That sounds amazing. We've done hikes, outdoor Eucharist, beach trips, trips to the Channel Islands. People often say it reinforces the way they see God in the world. That's incredible. Thank you for sharing that, Rose. And from Gloria, we are integral with the earth, God's creation. I'm moved by nature and the wonder of all that is around me. Birds, insects, plants, animals, sunsets. We need these things to be whole and healthy, and we need them to be whole and healthy. I
Yeah.
love that.
Beautiful.
And you're absolutely right, Steve. We should view it as a form of ministry, 100%.
Definitely.
I
And Anne,
really
thank you so
love
much for
ants.
sharing. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Just chime in if you hear something, just chime it in, drop it in the chat. There'll be some interaction in just a few minutes. But for now, thank you, Peyton, so much. And for now, let me just move on to away from our spice rack and over to our chef special. So for tonight's Climate Kitchen Chef Special, we prepared a delicious tasting menu for you. We've got 4 folks who will serve up quick overviews of what's happening at their churches in their congregations. First up, we have Jerry Maloof, if she has signed on, who will be talking about the green team at All Saints Beverly Hills. Is Jerry here?
Yes, I am.
Oh, yay. All right. Take it away, Jerry.
Okay, I'd like to just share a couple of things that we've been doing. The focus for All Saints Beverly Hills right now has really been on energy usage and waste reduction. I'm very pleased that our priest in charge is so committed to all things energy. I would go so far as to say if she walked into a empty room where a light was on, she would get a little crazy. So we've had great support from our clergy in this regard. we did a kind of an internal energy audit and came to realize that in the middle of the night, we were having these strange energy spikes and couldn't quite figure out what was going on. And were able to connect with an energy consultant, lovely, who worked pro bono, to kind of review all of our systems. And essentially, for years, we've had these automated systems where thermostats controlled when heat and air conditioning and all of those activities were going on. And we had heat and energy running in the middle of the night where no one was there. So the first thing we did was just to readjust all of our thermostat controls. We are also moving to add sensors so that lights will go on when there are actual people involved and go off when they're not. So, and I was hoping that I would have an opportunity to get some kind of numerical gauge on how much money we've saved. I haven't been able to do that, but we feel that it's really significant. The other thing that we are, and I'm not going to talk very much about our solar initiative because I think someone else is going to address that, but we do have a proposal to install solar panels. We are also realizing that our whole HVAC system is aging. So we are looking to do just a really combined analysis of what will it entail to not only add solar panels, but to reconfigure our whole HVAC system. Obviously a big ticket item, but something that I think can move us not only toward cost savings, but I think it makes a statement when a church is being very aggressive about their energy usage. Again, I believe that we are stewards of the environment, and anything that we can do goes to our mission as well as to the more practical dimensions of what we're doing. Just a little bit about waste reduction. We have eliminated plastic water bottles. It was amazing. Whenever there was an event, we would hand people a water bottle, which is crazy. So now we have pitchers of water. We are moving and have moved toward more compostable friendly paper goods. And the thing that we are really looking at now is how we might really move to reusables. Coffee mugs on Sunday, recycle or reusable glassware for other meetings. And there's some challenges involved with that. I love to hear from other people that have been able to do that. But that's kind of where we are in terms of our whole waste reduction effort right now. So that's my report from All Saints Beverly Hills.
Oh gosh, Jerry, thank you. Your green team is busy, busy, busy.
And
That
I'm
is
sorry I didn't have any good kitchen analogies.
well, it's not too late. Just chime in anytime. If you think of one. There no pun will be left on, or a phrase will be left unsaid by the time this is over. Anyway, so let's move on to our next speaker. So thank you so much, Jerry. Let's move on to Kathy Cartelli, who will be talking about the Creation Care exhibition that she cooked up at St. Andrews. Kathy.
Hi, thank you. I'm at St. Andrews in Irvine. That's St. Andrews. We have a book group at St. Andrews, and a couple of months ago we read Catherine Hayhoe's book called Saving Us, which is about climate change. One of the things that she is very passionate about, and if you went to her webinar that this commission sponsored about a month or two ago, you would know this as well. She says you need to talk about climate change. We did that in this book group, and we got really excited in sharing all the things that we were doing in our homes that either reduced, reused, or recycled. And we thought, okay, let's expand this and bring this conversation to our entire congregation. So what we did one Sunday in March is we encouraged people to bring products or talk about services that things they've done in their homes that reduce use of plastic, save water, make sure that they're reducing their use of gas, those kinds of things. We had one member who had actually done an analysis of his electricity spend when he put in solar panels, when he changed to a heat pump water heater. And so he was able to talk about that. The big impact that he made in his home for reducing electricity use was LED lights and changing all his indoor and outdoor lights to LED. Here are some pictures of some of the products that people brought that showed how they're using items that are recycled paper or bamboo, or one of these is recycled aluminum foil that you can buy at the store. So it was really successful. A lot of people took photos of products that they hadn't seen before and were planning on buying them. And it was a fun event, and we all learned something about items that are there and available that we didn't know about. And we got a chance to talk about them, not only how they impacted the environment, but how they might have made our lives easier. So, and giving tips on composting. So one of our members, and she's actually on this now, talked about those little composting bins that all the waste management companies have given us. People complained that it smelled or there were bugs. So what she said is she puts them in paper bags in her freezer, and then on trash day, that's when she takes them out and puts them in the bin so that you don't get the smell and the bugs. So little tips like that have been very helpful and have been really encouraged our parishioners to be thoughtful about what they're doing at home.
Great, Kathy. That is just incredibly inspiring. And how did you come up with doing a creation care exhibition? How did that occur to you? That's just a great idea.
I think really because we've been doing a lot at our church to try to encourage people to compost, and we've switched also to all compostable materials for our fellowship events. So, but there was more that we could do. And so several of us talk about some of the products that we use, and we thought that might be good information for everybody else. So we thought we'd actually bring them with us and show them off. And it was a successful event.
That's awesome. I can see that fitting into a ministry fair or, and just, spreading throughout the diocese.
Right.
I think it would
We also,
be applicable.
also afterwards, I summarized all the products and some of the tips and put them on our website so that that's available for people to see.
Great. Thank you so much, Kathy.
You're welcome.
Just awesome. Okay, next up is Steve Slayton, who will talk about his incredible solar project at All Saints in Riverside. So Steve, over to you. And I'll just wait for you to just I'll pepper in your photos. You can either call for them or I can just put some up as you're talking, whatever you'd like.
Just put them up because I've got so many I don't remember which ones I sent over to you, except for that last one. That was remarkable.
Okay, perfect.
I'm Steve Slayton, parishioner at All Saints in Riverside. I've been active in the Care Creation program since we started talking about it in 2021, 2022. We started talking about solar in earnest, talking about it in 2022 before the formation of the Bishop's Commission on Climate Change, and I'm also a member of that commission. We've been through so many iterations on this and so many starts and stops that it really is something special to see what's going on our campus. This is an artist's rendition of what we're trying to do, or what we are doing. We're not trying, we're doing it. you can see, what you can't see is that what we started out was an idea that we were going to put like a carport in one of our parking lots. And nobody liked that idea because we really like the aesthetics of our campus. It's like a Mission Inn style or a California Mission style architecture. And we went round and round with different contractors trying to convince them what we needed was something that would fit. So we fit with the rest of the campus aesthetically. We started talking about the roof, but the roofs are historically correct old Spanish tiles that you can't even, they don't even make them anymore. They were probably imported from Mexico, and the type of stuff where they took the material and they're all different shape because the workers would bend them over their thigh in order to form them and set them out in that was a tidbit I learned during this process. So we nixed the roof idea, and what we do have is we have on the south side of our campus, we're on a corner lot, and south facing, which is perfect for our orientation for generating solar energy, was a large grassy area that we decided to build a freestanding solar canopy, which is what you're kind of seeing the artist's rendition there. If you, Kate, if you have the pictures, I took a couple of pictures real quick of our campus, of the sanctuary and a auxiliary building. Well, here we're groundbreaking. So essentially what we ended up doing was disassociating with the contractor we had hired to do this, because we couldn't get them to come up with a proposal that would be a building or a structure that would be aesthetically consistent with the rest of our campus. And we decided we would take this on ourselves. So I went down to the city in order to find out how to, just what's the process for getting permits, what do we have to do, what's going on. And I was, the first thing he asked is, what's the address? So I gave him the address, and he said, oh, well, guess what? You have been designated a city landmark. And so that changed everything in terms of our planning, what we could do, the setbacks from the roads, the whole bit. As a matter of fact, what you're seeing here on the right with these pillars coming up, these are the footings that we dug, filled with concrete. They go down 3 feet, and they're about 3 feet square, so they're substantial. But these are the first pillars that went up. These will be wrapped, will be framed out and be wrapped so that they're consistent with pillars elsewhere on the church campus. But what they did when we found out we were a heritage site, or within the city we're a heritage site, we had to go through a cultural heritage review board in order before they even issue permits. So that took the better part of a year to walk through all that, get the permits, get everything going, make sure we had our money in hand. And then when we said go, is about the time inflation was kicking off. It was this year after the election, the tariffs speaking. This is the photo I was telling you about that I took the other day and didn't even look at it for several days. And when I did, I was just stunned by the view there. So at any rate, we passed all the Heritage Review Board. We're building now. I can tell you that what we are doing here may not be totally applicable to parishes in other cities, because we have a municipal utility company in Riverside Public Utilities. They are very solar friendly, which you're not going to find with Edison or PG&E or in many other jurisdictions. They are not absolutely beholden to the California Public Utilities Commission. We have our own city commission. We are able to build 150% of our prior year's usage. When we started, we were figuring 150%, but as our campus has grown with auxiliary groups coming in, we're probably going to end up 120, 130%, which means that we can contribute to the grid clean energy for others to use in addition to what we're using. We have about a 3,200 square foot roof that's going to be covered. Every inch of it's going to be covered with solar panels. It's going to give us about a 61 kilowatt power system. That translates to about 120% of our past year's usage. We anticipate the structure will be completed by the end of May, and we're hoping the first week in June that we will be plugged into the city and generating electricity for ourselves and others in the community. That's about it. A lot more to the story, but I don't have enough time.
Great, Steve. Thank you. And that picture is just It just seems like the Holy Spirit was in on the whole project from the beginning.
That gave me goosebumps when I saw that. I mean, it was stunning to me, having labored on this for several years, and then to look at that picture. I know it was a crack in the lens in the camera. I mean, was it? Whatever it was, it's inspirational.
Beautiful,
So
beautiful, and an amazing project. So kudos to you for
we're
seeing it
excited
through.
about it. Thank you.
And Steve, just so that everybody knows, is a complete treasure trove of information, not only about that project, but other aspects of electrification and so on and so forth. So maybe in future climate kitchens, we'll be able to talk about how you do all of that. It's amazing, very incredibly inspiring. Okay, well, thank you so much, Steve. And last but not least, on our tasting menu is Gloria Sefton, who she and Kathy have created amazing green tips and commentary. And Gloria, take it away with what that is.
Okay. Thank you, Kate. And I should thank Kathy for actually introducing me to the Bishop's Commission on climate change. I'm a parishioner at St. John Chrysostom in Rancho Santa Margarita, which is South Orange County. So I'm pretty far away from a lot of you folks in this really large diocese. But I visited St. Andrews one Sunday and met Kathy, and we started talking, and she introduced me. And then I think that's how I got on this commission, which was wonderful. So how this, I guess my part of this is all about green tips. And I had been doing green tips for St. John's, I think since about 2009. And more or less every week I would generate a green tip and it would show up in our bulletin. Of course, Bishop John was our priest, and he really loved the green tips and always touted them at the end of the service. And so, I thought that, we could do this. I could spread these green tips a bit more widely. And so the Bishop's Commission was a great conduit for that to happen. And now we have a collection of green tips that shows up on the website. And if you go to the Bishop's Commission on Climate Change website on the very landing page, and you scroll down all the way, you will find a litany of green tips. So I am doing them weekly, and they're published in a Google Drive, but they also show up on the website here. And some of the favorite ones that I have, in fact, the last or this week's ones have to do with kitchen green tips, which is sort of just a coinky dinky. But things like save your leftovers. You can make big batches of food rather than produce a meal every night that takes a lot of energy and pots and pans and cleanup and so on. So if you cook, for more than a day, you can use leftover rice for different meals. You can, make a big pot of oatmeal and use that for the week and use different toppings and that sort of thing. My tips, I sort of dream them up. Some are seasonal, depending on where we are in the year in California. And I wanted, shout out to my brother, Ron Sachin, who's on the call. He lives in Parker, Colorado, and he attends St. Matthew's Episcopal Church there. So, hey, Ronnie, thank you for joining. So, the green tips are, sort of specific to our California environment, but I think anyone can access these and use them as appropriate. So really hoping that you'll check those out. And what you can do is simply copy and paste the green tip and put them in your bulletin on a weekly or whatever frequency basis you would like. At St. John's, our church administrator usually finds a really neat photograph to go with it. That's kind of cool and matches the tip. I haven't had any issues with copyright. But be careful of that if you're downloading photos, that kind of thing. But other than that, please use these and spread the word, because I do believe that, our small actions collectively will make a difference. If we all stop buying plastic wrap from the store and stop buying paper towels, or at least buy those that are recycled, we're going to make a difference in our carbon emissions, in our deforestation processes that happen just to produce paper towels and toilet tissue. So things like that, just good reminders for everyone. So if you have questions, please let me know. Happy to help out with that if you want to start that up at your church and get that going. It's a great thing just to as a reminder on a weekly basis.
Great, Gloria. Thank you. Your tips are so the breadth of topics that you have covered and that you have archived is really incredible. And
Thank you.
there's truly something on travel. There are tips on plastic. There are tips on water usage. There are tips on how to compost. You name it, there's a tip for it. So please, everyone, use these, sprinkle these in your bulletin, sprinkle these, into your newsletters and whatever you've got going. They are truly fantastic.
Thank you very much.
So thank
I
you, Gloria.
appreciate the opportunity. Thanks.
So thank you so much for our tasting menu of speakers. Now what we want to do is turn it over to you and have a very short breakout, probably, 10 minutes or so, so that you can A, meet each other, and B, swap what's going on in your diocese or what you're working on, or if you don't have a green team going yet, or if you don't have something going yet, what you might aspire to, the direction you want to head in.
All right, folks joining back from our breakout rooms, welcome back. Still coming in. I'm really excited to hear about everybody's conversation. Okay, there we go. There's Kate. Okay. So I hope everyone had a great conversation. Oh, Rose says in the chat, we had a great room. I am so excited to hear about it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go room by room. I'd love for one person from each group to give us the highlight of your conversation. I'm sure that you had wonderful talks and I'm excited to hear about them. So room one. Okay, absolutely, Rose. Once we get to your group, I'm calling on Steve. You better be ready, Steve.
It's not fair.
So room one, we had Elizabeth and Jerry and Kate and Peyton. I would love to hear from one of you about some highlights from what you guys talked about. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Elizabeth?
Elizabeth, do you want to summarize what? Elizabeth Combs, are you still on?
Elizabeth, I think I saw you. I'm going to go ahead and do our Brady Bunch window
Do you
so we
feel
can see all
comfortable
each other.
summarizing? Otherwise, I'm happy to do.
Summarize, please.
All right, we won't put you on the spot, Elizabeth.
Yeah, I tend to ramble, so.
All right, Kate, go for it.
Okay, you did not ramble. So in our room, we at Elizabeth's congregation, St. Bede's, a lot is going on, including an effort to do sustainable landscaping and also to get disposable plastic out of meetings, and a couple of other initiatives as well. Really exciting work that's going on there. And then Jerry brought up a very interesting question that would be fun to get everybody in on. maybe a subsequent climate kitchen, and that is creation care. What is creation care? That phrase, what does that mean? And is that the best way to frame our climate and faith and love in action effort around climate change and around care of creation? What's the best language? So that sparked a really interesting conversation. And Peyton offered two things, creation justice and earth and spirit, as different ways to think about care of creation or creation care. But isn't that a cool discussion? So that's our report.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to go to room 2 now. We had Doug and Mark and Marco. Which one of you would like to tell us about your conversation? Just go ahead and unmute.
I'll chime in. First of all, Peyton always steals my ideas. He's brilliant that way. I wanted to share, Sam and Peyton, I think already know, but I am a proud third generation member of St. Barnabas in Pasadena, and we are very similar to St. Mark's Altadena. We're at ground zero for the Eaton fires. And whereas about half of our parishioners and half of our vestry lost their homes, their places of work, or both. So we are managing through the environmental and climate, as Peyton put, the climate justice or injustice in this sense, right? That and so there's an extra layer of this conversation and the perspective that we have from the Eaton fires, the rain and the precipitation that followed it, which brought on floods and then mudslides because the vegetation was all gone, right? So it's wave after wave after wave of climate impact, and then we happen to be a historically Black congregation where, again, back to Peyton's point about creation justice and so forth, right? That as we, I think, all understand that there is a particular vulnerability that ethnic communities tend to have relative to climate and the environment. So there's a lot to unravel with all of this. And then Doug mentioned a wonderful point too, and that is challenges that I think most of our congregations have with tenants or people that use our facilities in trying to encourage and trying to get them to be as environmentally and as conscious as they can be with respect to their waste and how they utilize our facilities and so forth. So all of those are significant challenges, I think, that we were facing in our breakout session.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. That's it is a really deep and rich conversation there. Thank you. All right, so we'll turn it to room 3. We have Catherine, Kathy, Ron, and Susan. Which one of you would like to share highlights of your discussion?
The one with the B last name always gets stuck with this sort of thing.
Oh, God bless you, Susan.
It's okay. First of all, I think we had a good discussion. We come from somewhat different places, and I would wished we'd had more time. Ron brought up his wondering about the trade-offs of, for instance, using your dishwashers to deal with reusable cups and plates and things like that versus the cost to the earth of the single-use plastics, but the financial and energy trade-offs. And we came to the conclusion, because people were better informed than I, that there actually is no matter how much water you use, because the current dishwashers are so much more efficient, et cetera, that the cost is, and the energy consumption is going to be less. My concern is always with the plastic, no matter how much it takes to wash it, the plastic's going to sit here for 500 years, if you know what I'm saying. And so there's no trade-off for me. It's, you know, if there are better ways to do it. And it looks to me like St. Andrews and Irvine is as there's some climate militants at St. Andrews, which is wonderful. They have a composting police, essentially. People watching people as they're dumping things into the trash and fishing it out if it needs to be fished out. And that's kind of what we have to do, because people go unconscious. They don't intend to be negligent. They just go unconscious. And then I go off onto a tangent sometimes on this, because I really feel like there's some theological issues that we need to talk about, because otherwise it's all guilt and intellect. And when push comes to shove, that isn't going to do it. There's a different kind of relationship to the earth for me that we need to begin to really immerse ourselves in. And did I miss anything? Group 3?
I think you summarized it.
I was preaching, Peyton, and I knew I was gonna.
Fantastic. I love it. I'm glad that you're the one that spoke for the group. I'm so glad to hear what you have to say. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So
speaking of sharing, this is the kitchen crasher from Colorado here. And as Gloria shared the opportunity to witness what you're doing tonight, I was thinking that just to make a bigger impact, for example, with Gloria sent me for my parish, why not have the diocese spread it to other dioceses, and just to make a bigger impact. It really is a great archive of tips, and for, it only takes one more to make twice the impact. So if you send them out to all the dioceses, I think that's gonna be a good thing. Thanks.
absolutely. Thank you. And I love that. It just takes one more and you're making twice the difference. That's fantastic. Thank you. And we welcome crashers. Thank you for being here. So room 4, we have Cash, Gloria, and Wendy, who'd like to speak for your group.
I was voluntold that I would be the speaker.
Oh, God bless you, Cash.
And it's a pleasure to share. Now, I didn't have my listening ears on as well as I should have. I did note that Wendy Edwards is from the Pasadena area, and so she's suffering with the fires in that area as well. And Gloria Sefton is from the Trabuco Canyon area, and she's probably had a solar system longer than most people. She installed her system in 2003 and has actually been enhancing it and looking forward to adding a battery system or some on-site generation for her personal home. I failed to mention that Wendy's parish does have a composting program that was implemented by a Boy Scout who was trying to get his Eagle, was it Eagle Scout badge or something? Yes, so, and I shared with them that I actually designed and helped to install probably one of the first solar systems in the parish or in the diocese at Christchurch Parish, where I'm a parishioner and the junior warden. And we also have a small compost system. The solar system is only 11 kilowatts, and it's been there for more than 20 years now. And so we're actually, we've lost a couple of the inverters, and it's time to upgrade it. And that's one of the projects that I'm looking at doing, hopefully in the near future. Did I cover everything, ladies? One of the things that I noted was that in many areas, at least in the Southern California gas area, Southern California or Los Angeles area, Southern California gas is trying to get out of the gas appliance industry. And so eventually we'll all be looking at replacing those gas appliances with electric appliances.
Wonderful. Thank you. I don't know what you're talking about with not having your listening ears on. That was incredible. Thank you for sharing all that. Sounds like a rich
I
discussion.
didn't write
And
any notes down. I just,
well, I'd
yeah.
also love to learn more about your project over at Christ Church. That sounds amazing what you're doing. And I'm sure the commission would love, I'd love photos too. I'd love to hear more about what you're doing over there. So
Well, I
we'll
thought I was
definitely
on
be
the
in
commission,
touch.
but I haven't gotten much information, so I don't know whether I'm
Well,
getting.
I'm glad you're here tonight. We're going to fix that. You're going to get more information from us. We're
Excellent.
really happy to have you.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much for being here tonight. So I'm going to now move on to room 5. We have Anne, Rose, and Steve. Steve, you've been voluntold.
Yeah, as I just learned that, right? Rose wants me, I made a confession and she wants me to confess to the whole group. And that confession is we were talking about the need to talk about climate change. And that kind of drove our conversation, that it seems like we're talking about it, but we need to extend this conversation outside of our, our churches and outside of our families and take it to the community, because there's a concerted effort to tamp down awareness and to actually contradict everything that we've tried to do to combat climate change. And my confession was that I went to the first protest I'd ever gone to. I'll be 72 this year, and I've never been to a protest. I've never protested. So I went to the Hands Off protest here in Riverside, and I loved it. And I am going to go back. And at first I went because I felt that numbers are important. We need to put this out, and we need to live our baptismal vows. And I found it to be a very rewarding experience. And I plan on going back. But back to our theme was that we need to talk. We need to talk to our communities, to our congregations, and to those outside of our immediate experiences, and keep talking about the dangers that we face and we're posing on other people through our actions and inactions. And that was about it. How did I do, Rose?
Absolutely wonderful. I love it. It was a great conversation.
Fantastic. Thank you all so much for participating in that. So I'm going to turn it back to Kate now for the next part of our climate kitchen.
Great. We're running a little bit over, gang, but just really quickly, it'll take us just about another 5 minutes to wrap up. But I think the whole point of Climate Kitchen and the objective, if you will, of Climate Kitchen was just very clearly articulated, and that is we need to talk about it. It needs to be a kitchen table issue. And I think as we become more and more comfortable talking about it, being in community around it, I do think that we'll be love spreading difference makers out, that will be able to spread out into the world. And so that is my hope for Climate Kitchen. That's the whole root of the name, a gathering space, a warm, welcoming gathering space where we can safely talk about climate. But yes, you're absolutely right. We need to spread it out into the world. And it does need to be the number one climate or kitchen table issue of our time. And that's what I truly believe. So I welcome, because this is our kickoff, this is our inaugural Climate Kitchen. I will put my email in the chat right now. And I would appreciate it if people have comments about what direction we should go in, any improvements, and what you'd like to see in Climate Kitchen. I would love to hear it. Okay, just to wrap up really quickly, we're going to have a very quick kitchen timer segment. And so thank you very much for sharing and being in the recipe swap. I hope that was useful. It sounds like it was. Now the kitchen timer segment is about giving you one action and one resource to act on climate. So our action that we're highlighting is that is Climate Justice Now. This is, everybody is invited to join the Climate Justice Now Interfaith Rally, and it's being spearheaded by the Reverend Daniel Tam, who's also on the Bishop's Commission on Climate Change. It will be at Christ the Shepherd Lutheran Church next Sunday, May 4th from 2 to 4 p.m. It is half rally and half reflection because it's in the heart of Altadena, of course, that was devastated by the fires, by the Eaton fire. And so it will be part rally, part walk. There'll be a silent walk around the neighborhood, of just a few blocks of the neighborhood to be in silence together, and to honor the neighborhood and so on. And then also to rally for the Make Polluters Pay bills that are making their way through the California State Legislature. And the RSVP, the registration is being put in the chat. And then also there's a potluck supper at Christ the Shepherd Lutheran Church following the rally and reflection. And so that you can sign up for that by RSVPing to an email. So there's a registration link and an email link, and those will go into the chat if you're interested in doing that. So that's our action, Sunday, May 4th. Definitely try to attend if you have time and can do that. And then the resource that I wanted to point out, name notwithstanding, is the Creation Care pages on the Episcopal Church website. The passing of Pope Francis and the coverage of his life brought to my mind his Laudato Si letter, which he wrote to the world on care for our common home. And he, of course, we all know he was a champion of the environment. And so while the Episcopal Church doesn't issue encyclicals in quite that same way, because we don't have a central body like that, on the church website, Creation Care is certainly an important pillar of all that we stand for. And you'll find information on commemorating Earth Day, which a lot of parishes will be doing this coming Sunday, April 27th, or really any Sunday this spring. You'll find prayers, you'll find information on a podcast, you'll find the Episcopal Covenant to Care of Creation, you'll find a lot more information. So if you either don't know about the Creation Care website or you haven't checked it out in a while, I highly encourage you to check it out, because it's just a ton of robust information there. And now I would just like to say thank you for joining in our very first Climate Kitchen. We've got one bonus resource. I was doing research for Climate Kitchen, and I came across the 5 R's of kitchen hospitality. I came upon it by accident, and it's from Episcopal Relief and Development. They also have amazing, amazing resources. So I found the 5 R's of kitchen hospitality. It's a PDF. So please check that out to learn the 5 R's of kitchen hospitality that we all need to know. If you are at all interested in participating in the next Climate Kitchen, I'd love to highlight what is going on in your parish, or what you're doing. We'll have a little bit more time to talk. I'll build that in. And I just would love any suggestions that you all have. So a huge thank you and shout out to everybody who joined today. Really, really appreciate you. And let's go forth and multiply. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you
everybody.
very much for joining. Have a good night.